Commander Zixtile adjusted the biosensors on his sleek crystalline exosuit as he gazed through the observation deck of the Hegemony Sovereign, the flagship of the Xerathon Collective's exploration fleet. Below them, a small blue-green world spun lazily in the void, its single moon casting pale shadows across unfamiliar continents. "Initial scans complete, Commander," reported his science officer, Tellerin, her forearms dancing across holographic displays. The dominant species appears to be primitive, bipedal carbon-based organisms. No visible technology beyond basic metallurgy and combustion engines. Zixtile's mandibles clicked with amusement. How disappointing. And here I thought we might finally encounter a species worthy of joining the collective. He studied the readouts, noting the creatures' limited lifespans, their small stature, and their apparent confinement to a single world. What do they call themselves? According to intercepted communications, they refer to themselves as humans, Tellerin replied, her voice carrying the same dismissive tone. They seem to be engaged in constant territorial disputes and resource conflicts. Highly inefficient behavior. The Xerathon Collective had encountered hundreds of species across the galaxy, each evaluated for potential membership based on strict criteria: technological advancement, social cohesion, and most importantly, biological resilience. Species that couldn't survive in at least 12 different atmospheric compositions were deemed too fragile for the rigors of galactic civilization. Biological assessment? Zixtile inquired, though he suspected he already knew the answer. Laughably weak, Commander. Fragile bone structure, minimal natural defenses, extremely limited environmental tolerance. They require specific temperature ranges, particular atmospheric compositions, and seem unable to survive exposure to cosmic radiation without artificial protection. Tellerin's data streams painted a picture of pathetic vulnerability. They're confined to the surface of their world, with only brief forays into the void using primitive chemical propulsion. Other officers around the bridge murmured in agreement. The Kalathi could survive in methane storms. The Vraxen thrived in temperatures that would vaporize metal, and the Xerathon themselves could withstand the crushing depths of gas giant atmospheres. These humans appeared to be among the most delicate creatures they'd ever encountered. "Set course for the outer system," Zixtile commanded. "We'll mark this world as monitored, but non-viable, and continue our survey. Perhaps in a few thousand cycles, they'll have evolved into something more substantial." "Wait," Tellerin's voice carried a note of confusion. "Commander, there's an anomaly in our atmospheric analysis." "What kind of anomaly?" "I'm running the scans again, but—" She paused, her secondary arms recalibrating instruments. "The atmospheric composition readings seem incorrect. The computer keeps flagging them as errors." Zixtile moved to her station, his own scientific background making him curious, despite his disappointment with the species. "Show me." The holographic display materialized between them, showing a detailed breakdown of Earth's atmospheric composition. Zixtile's compound eyes widened as he processed the data. "This can't be right," he whispered. 21% oxygen, Tellerin read, her voice becoming increasingly amazed. 78% nitrogen, trace amounts of argon, carbon dioxide, and other gases. The bridge fell silent. In the collective's database of over 40,000 worlds, they had encountered oxygen concentrations above 15%, exactly 3 times. Each of those worlds had been classified as Class IX death worlds, suitable only for the most extreme deep space mining operations with full environmental suits. "Run the scan again," Zixtile ordered, his mandibles chattering nervously. "I've run it 6 times, Commander. The results are consistent." Tellerin's voice was barely a whisper. "They're breathing concentrated oxidizer. Every breath they take would be like voluntarily inhaling industrial solvent." Dr. Vexmore, the fleet's xenobiologist, approached with his measurement devices already humming. "Commander, if I may. Oxygen at these concentrations should cause rapid cellular degradation, systemic toxicity, and neurological damage. The fact that they've not only evolved in this environment, but appear to require it." He trailed off, checking his instruments again. "What are you saying, Doctor?" "I'm saying, these aren't weaklings, Commander. These are the most biochemically resilient organisms we've ever encountered. Their cellular structure must be incredibly robust to withstand constant oxidative stress. Their metabolism must be extraordinarily efficient to process such volatile compounds safely." The revelation hit the bridge crew like a pulse cannon blast. They'd been looking at the data backwards. The humans weren't confined to their world because they were weak. They were confined to their world because their planet was so extraordinarily hostile that virtually no other known species could survive there. "Re-examine their technology," Zixtile ordered, his voice tight with growing realization. "They've somehow managed to achieve metallurgy and combustion engineering in an atmosphere that would corrode most of our equipment within hours," Tellerin reported, her data streams now painting a very different picture. "Their materials science must be incredibly advanced just to function in their environment." "And their space exploration?" Dr. Vexmore asked. "They're not using primitive chemical propulsion," the tactical officer Quendar suddenly spoke up. "They're using controlled explosions. Controlled explosions in an oxygen-rich atmosphere. They're literally riding controlled bombs into space." The bridge was completely silent now, except for the humming of instruments and life support systems. Each member of the crew was beginning to understand the implications. "Commander," Tellerin said slowly, "what happens when we encounter a species that's evolved to thrive in conditions that would kill us in minutes, who've developed technology specifically designed to function in one of the most corrosive environments in the known galaxy?" Zixtile stared at the small blue world spinning below them, his perception completely transformed. These weren't weak creatures eking out a primitive existence. These were apex survivors who had conquered a death world so thoroughly that they'd forgotten it was supposed to be uninhabitable. "Communications," he said finally. "Open a channel to collective command. Priority Alpha. Sir, inform them that we've encountered a species of extreme interest. Mark this system as priority contact, not non-viable." He paused, watching the tiny lights of human cities twinkling on the dark side of their impossible world, and send a recommendation for immediate diplomatic protocols. If they can survive in that atmosphere, imagine what they could accomplish in ours. As the Hegemony Sovereign adjusted its orbit to begin formal observation protocols, none of the crew mentioned their earlier dismissive assessments. They were too busy wondering what other primitive capabilities these remarkable humans might possess and what it would mean for the galaxy when they finally decided to leave their beautiful, terrible world behind.